This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Our goal with our videos is to empower you to be able to do the repairs on your own and save a whole lot of money and also get that great feeling of having fixed it by yourself. Today we have a Thermador oven that is not heating, and almost always due to a faulty igniter, which is really easy to fix. So we're pulling out the racks. We've got it unplugged. We're going to pull up this side rack by lifting it up and then pulling down from the top. Same on the other side. We lift it up, pull down from the top. We're going to take a Phillips head screwdriver and remove these two screws that are holding in this front brace. Just zip those out. Super easy. And you can just put that on the lower tray here. We're going to be pulling that tray out, and then the igniter's just sitting right underneath. You can also remove the door to give you a little more working room by pulling up one of the latches. This one, the latch is kind of stuck, so I'm just going to leave the door in place. Still, you have plenty of room to do it. So pulling out these two screws on this side, and then we're going to lift up on the front of the lower panel by about maybe 1.5 inches, and we're going to pull it toward us to get it out of the oven. It'll just slide right out. So I'm going to lift up, pull it toward me, and then we can see this Venturi tube underneath, the burner tube where the flames come out, and attached to the front of it is the igniter. Normally it's attached by two small Phillips head screws with a nut behind it. This one I noticed just had one, which is okay, but normally you'd find two. So we're going to use a Phillips head screwdriver to zip out the fastener, and I'm just going to hold the little nut on the other side. You can hold it with your hand or use a pair of pliers. I'm going to pull that screw out, and now I'll remove a panel from the front of the oven. Right here we have a panel that has two screws holding in it at the top, two Phillips head screws. I remove the right, I remove the left, and I'll pull the bottom of the panel toward me. The clips will release, so get that panel off. And now I'm going to be able to easily take the wire nuts off of the old igniter. If the wire nuts aren't there, you may have to cut the old igniter out. So I'm going to pull those off. I'm going to grab my new igniter. I'm just using the Electrolux kind of basic igniter. They just call them a flat oven igniter. You can get them on Amazon for about 15 bucks. And I'm going to go ahead and use the ceramic wire nut that came with it to spin that on righty-tighty, as tight as I can get it. I'll do the same on the other side. So either oven wire can go to either igniter wire. No polarity issue. Either way is okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and feed that igniter back in toward the oven. Get those wires pushed back into position. And now I'm putting the screw back in. I'm going to put the nut on, and I'll just tighten that up with the Phillips head screwdriver. Again, usually there's two of these. If there's only one, it's okay. It's better to have two, ideally, but if you don't have it, one will hold it for sure. So these usually last, maybe 4 or 5 years before you have to replace them, but they're pretty cheap. You can get the Thermador one for sure, but the Electrolux one is basically the same igniter and a lot cheaper. So we're going to turn on the oven, and it'll take about 30 to 40 seconds for it to heat up and get hot enough for the safety valve to let in the main gas and ignite. It wants to make sure that the igniter is hot enough to cause ignition. So it's almost white hot, and then it'll let the gas flow in. You should get a nice blue flame. If you have a little yellow tinges, it's okay, but you don't really want a yellow flame. If you have a yellow flame, you have to adjust the air-fuel mixture. So it's a pretty good blue flame, a little bit of yellow tinges, which is okay. So we're going to go ahead and turn it off, and we'll put it all back together. Just putting those wires back in. I push these clips back into these sockets at the bottom. I just line it up and push in on the right, push in on the left, and I'll add those 2 Phillips head screws in that'll hold in the top of that bottom panel. Once I do that, I just have to just slip in the lower panel back into position, and then I'll put the brackets back in. If your igniters are going out within a year or two instead of 4 or 5 years, you might have a bit of a hole developing in the Venturi tube, and it's just kind of cooking your igniter, so you have to get a new Venturi tube. So this totally fixed this one. Hopefully this will help you with your Thermador oven. Thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe when you get a chance.